Hi guys and girls. I just wanted to say first of all, I hope you have a great Christmas and New Year for those of you who celebrate it. And I was toying with the idea of doing some sort of video and talking about kind of moving into 2016 and the beginning of the year. And it seems to be the big obsession, coming to New Year's resolutions and goal setting and looking forward and planning and strategic planning and everything else, and then breaking down the tactics of how to implement it all. And I get some of that, and I think sometimes it's a little bit over the top. But what I'd like you to consider, and I've just crafted some questions for you to sit with. I did a podcast recently where for the first time I actually shared some questions, and I gave a list of questions, and that really has inspired this video here today. And I think a very good question has the capacity to shift how we see the world, how we see ourselves in the world. It has the ability to shift our awareness and give us an insight into something that perhaps we were somewhat aware of or maybe completely unaware of. And that's the thing, as I look back in 2016, amongst many other things, I've had a fairly phenomenal year. And I'm not just saying that because I should say that. I think I've had a really great year. I've had some challenges, but overall I've had a really, really cool year, and I've had lots of amazing highlights. And but one of the things that I do, and is part of the work that I do with individuals in different parts of the world, is a lot of it's about crafting questions and exercises and conversations, and really challenging people to kind of be the best version of themselves. But really what I find that means is just actually paring back and allowing that person, supporting that person, challenging that person just to be more of who they are. And when they become more of who they are, that equates to the person, the best version of themselves and everything else, because it's just about paring back the masks, the layers, whatever you want to call it, that we've created around us to keep us safe, for this illusion of safety, etc. So rather than looking forward, I'm a great believer in not spending my life looking backwards, but reflecting on, in this case, 2015 before we consider 2016. I know there's people setting goals in the context of a business that they don't enjoy, setting goals about what they want to do from an activity standpoint, from a geographical location where they don't want to live, setting goals around with their partner and their family, and yet they've got real fundamental issues at home that they're not prepared to deal with. So this video is not designed to undermine you, but it's designed to bring a degree of awareness to you and maybe give you a set of better questions. If nothing else, if it gives you a better direction in terms of better questions to consider now and moving forward, I believe that's a really good thing. So I just share some of those, and I suppose if I reflect back, I suppose from a personal growth standpoint and even a business growth standpoint, I find that it's easy to address and to work on the challenges that people can see, the ones that they're consciously aware of, the ones that are familiar. But what about the challenges that lie dormant? What about the aspects, the blind spots that you cannot see? And that, I think that's what a great question can do. It can stir that. But the final piece before I give you a few of the questions is to consider where you absorb the question. Absorbing a question on a tube in London between like 2 or 3 stations is one way to ask a question. The same question presented on a beach where you've got a half a day to yourself is another place where probably and most likely the question will land at a different place within you. And the same question on a mountain at a place or location that inspires you will hit you in a different way. So bring this into your relationship, bring this into your partnership, bring this into your family, some of these questions where appropriate, and the discussions might be really interesting to unlock you. So before you consider 2016, let's reflect on 2015, and here's some questions, and I'll include these in the body of the blog or the vlog, excuse me, for you to consider. Where in my life am I settling? I'm using a laptop, which I rarely ever do, in case you're wondering why I'm staring now. Where in my life am I settling? It's not a case of am I settling. I find that pretty much every human being is settling an aspect of their life somewhere. I may well be successful. So in other words, on paper, as people look at you, they think you've got a great marriage, a great relationship, great friends, etc., etc. But do I feel satisfied? Do I feel satisfied? Am I using my gift or my talent? So in other words, you may be very talented at what you do. You may have an incredible, kind of way of dealing with, say, software, or clients, or, you might be a great dentist. But is that actually your gift? And I believe that your gift and your talent are often two different things. They can often be related, but I often find that people are using them very separately. Am I really happy? Am I really as happy as I pretend to be on Facebook every day? And I think in social media, in the world that we live in, it's not just social media. I think it's on the streets. And I think social media has been given too much of a rap for this from me and other people. As we walk the streets, when we meet somebody, how are you? I'm great, I'm fantastic, I'm wonderful. But is that actually the truth? So, am I as happy as I pretend to be in the world, in a social environment? In other words, when I go out the door, am I pretending to be happier than I am? So again, about facing this truth, it might sound depressing. It might feel like the questions are somewhat negative, but they're not. Because if you can face the reality, then your goals, your aspirations, your intentions for 2016 can change to support the reality as opposed to the fiction. And therefore the goals will be so much more aligned to who you are as an individual and support you lifting and elevating your life into a different place. So there are just some things to consider. I think there's about 10 questions that I would love you to consider around 2015. And then let's shift gear. I was going to do a separate video for this, but maybe let's just keep it within the same video. And I apologize, it's going to be longer as a result. But if you can't spend 7 or 8 minutes considering your life, maybe my work and this video is already a waste of time for you. Who knows? 2016, before you go near 2016, I would like you to make sure that you complete the 2015 ones. Don't consider the 2016 in the same sitting. I'd like you to sit with them. I'd like you to go back. I'd like you to challenge your answers. I'd like you to go back and look at the answers and go, call bullshit on yourself and say, is that really my answer? Is that the answer I want it to be? Is that the answer I want my wife or my husband or my boyfriend or my girlfriend or my son to read? So really challenge those questions, allow it to percolate for a few days, and then tackle the 2016 days. What do I need to let go of in 2016? What do I need to let go of? It could be an individual, it could be a business, it could be some complexity in your life. What's the clarity I don't want to see? What is the clarity I don't want to see? A lot of us are looking for clarity about our futures and our lives and about what we should do with our lives and aspects of our lives. And often I believe we have that clarity, but it's the fear of what that clarity represents often prevents us from actually allowing ourselves to feel and see it, never mind implement it. So for example, often we want to be happy and we want to be fulfilled, but we want to keep everybody happy at the same time. And I find that often an authentic dream, an authentic goal, an authentic outcome, an authentic intention requires us to change. And we're fearful that people won't love us anymore. People won't like us. For example, I might sound a bit deep, but it's very true, trust me. Who am I seeking validation from? Some of these questions you're familiar with if you know my work, and I'd be surprised there's not a few in there that you're not familiar with. And even if you've answered these questions 6 or 8 months ago or a year ago, address them again because you're at a different place. You're at a different place. That's the interesting thing with my work is a client said to me recently, he said, your work just, and this is his words, not mine, it just keeps on giving. It keeps on bringing me to new places. And I said, yeah, because you've changed, you've moved on. So don't shy away from these questions because you feel you may have answered them before. What conversation or conversations do I need to have? There might be a conversation that you've been avoiding for the last year. And what we don't realize is by avoiding things, the energy it takes from us in many other aspects of our lives. So that's another one to consider. And what one thing could I do in 2016 that would make me feel better or happier or more fulfilled or more aligned or make me feel that I have more meaning in my life? So what one thing? So rather than creating 50 different things that you want to do in 10 different categories, maybe there's one thing that you'd like to commit to doing. And that if you did that and nothing else in 2016, it would be unbelievably powerful and productive and fun and meaningful and in turn would inspire other people around you. So there's some things to consider. I believe that, if we focus on being more of who we are at the core, the best version of ourselves shows up. The more authentic version shows up. The person who's more aligned, more happy, there's a fluency that can show up where we're actually just, life seems to flow a little bit more. And what you'll find is people start coming to you, opportunities come to you, possibilities open for you. People will lean in. You'll become more of an inspirational beacon for the people around you. You'll find that your business starts to work better and more fluent. So there's some things to consider for 2016. Thank you.